Well, ladies and gentlemen, when you eliminate unforgiveness, guilt, shame, rejection, judging, good grief. Love is spiritual, not natural. You ever think about that? This is absolutely miraculous. With love, you get the results now. I've been a fan of C.S. Lewis in my life, in his works, both fiction and nonfiction. And he is considered one of the top scholars and theologians in the history of Christendom, especially modern. And one of the things that Dr. Lewis would teach and wrote in his books is that in some ways we're like a piece of granite that an artist, a sculptor, with his pick and hammer is trying to bring this beautiful image out of, with 10,000 different little chips here and there. And C.S. Lewis compared that to us as believers and followers of Jesus. And he said that those chisel, every time God whacks that chisel on us, it hurts. And he's talking about the problem of pain and suffering, okay? But he says that pain and suffering are God hitting that chisel, which chips us yet again, and that all the while we think it's something bad and terrible, but God is using that to bring out our perfect self, or the perfect version of us that he intended when we were created, and the place that I will be happiest and most fulfilled and content and all that sort of thing. Well, there's nothing more painful in the world, in my opinion, than unforgiveness. I would rather have major surgery, that kind of pain, than the pain of unforgiveness. Unforgiveness is the number one issue on the planet. I'd been teaching for years that I'd never seen a health problem or a psychological or mental problem where there was not an unforgiveness issue. And then I met Dr. Ben Johnson, a cancer specialist, flight surgeon in the Army, renowned all over the world medical doctor, and he had been teaching for years. He'd never seen a cancer without unforgiveness. Well, from unforgiveness comes guilt and shame, and I'm not good enough, and rejection, and I don't measure up, and judgment. You know, I do this, I get good, I do this, I get bad. Constant judgment where my identity and worth are going like this. But nothing is more painful than that. Unforgiveness and the guilt and shame and pain and suffering that come from that. But please add to that mixture that this is what God and this is what love uses to make me the best version of me. When Hope and I got married, I dated quite a bit, and I dated a lot of beautiful young ladies inside and out. Okay, I knew the first time I saw Hope, she was the one for me, and I was right. But early in our marriage, it was one of the most painful things I've ever been through in my life, if not the most painful. Okay, and that went on for about 12 years, and about the only way I know to describe that is a living hell. Okay, but I guarantee you, without that friction, without that pain and suffering, there's no way I'd be where I am today. I wouldn't be talking to you today. I wouldn't have discovered some of the things I have that have helped other people. I needed that time on the refining fire, on the anvil, on the sculptor's platform. So, and also knowing that, that when I do things wrong, when I commit sins, okay, that, yeah, it's a sin, but all sin means is missing the mark, doing the wrong thing, okay? This TV has an instruction book. Well, you can make a mistake going by the instructions and it malfunctions. Well, but you don't beat yourself up, probably, for missing one instruction and silly me. That says B and I thought it was D. All right, you just go back and correct it. And I think that's much more where we're supposed to be when it comes to sin and doing things wrong and not doing the right things, is realizing that this is part of the game. This is part of what this is supposed to be about. I was never expected to do it right. In fact, God says I can't do it all right. And no one ever has except Jesus. Okay? So it's expected for me to mess up. It's already paid for when I do mess up. And God is going to use every one of those to make me the better and better until I hopefully get to best version of me. Well, if that's true, then sin should not be this, horrible thing that we only talk about in whispers, and we're constantly judging, she's doing that, he's doing that. It's supposed to be a lot more of, okay, I'll show you mine if you'll show me yours. Here's what I struggle with and have struggled with all my life as far as missing the mark. And you share yours, and there's no judgment because we both know. We both missed it. Nobody gets it all right. So there's no shame in the mess-ups. Now, of course, some are more serious than others, and I'm also not saying you just indiscriminately start telling anyone and everything. Use a little bit of perception and intuition. But I believe church in the kingdom is supposed to be so much more like an AA meeting, where here's my problem. Here's the place I'm struggling. Here's the place I'm hurting now. And then you tell me what yours is. Or not, if you're not comfortable. Maybe you need some time. But we love unconditionally and do not judge. Judge is for God and small children. All right? Not for us. We've all blown it. And there is no, okay, here's the line, here's the percentage where if you cross this line, then it's not okay anymore. No, there is no line. It's all been paid for. Okay? There's no condemnation. All right? It's not of works, lest people should boast. It's of grace. And about this pain thing, another incredible thing, and one of the verses in the Bible that I dislike the most, or at least have in the past, count it as joy when the painful thing happens. Why? It's painful because of the realization that that's what God is using, which rules out the judgment, the condemnation, the not accepting other people just exactly the way they are now, or you have to change for me to be okay with being around you, or whatever. Unconditional love, and let God judge. All right? So, to me, that makes the sin thing a little bit less onerous, because if I've already been forgiven and I forgive you, then that means I don't have to have the guilt and shame, which means I don't have to have the rejection, which means I don't have to think of myself and others as bad because they did this or didn't do that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when you eliminate unforgiveness, guilt, shame, rejection, judging, good grief, your emotions and feelings have just taken a gigantic step up and more positively. And I believe that's exactly where we're supposed to be and what I'm going to be teaching you to do in the spiritual laws of nature. So, thank you so very much. Have a wonderful, blessed day.